Let's talk about how to create a new story about who you are. This week, the sun is in the Human Design Gate 13, which is all about personal narrative. This week is a really good opportunity to revisit what is the story that you are telling yourself about who you are, and maybe if it's not up to par to what you want to be creating, to be able to create a new one. So how do we go about doing that? Hey, I'm Trini, self-knowledge guide and human design specialist. And everything I publish is about helping you understand the way that you work so that you can tap into living your most joyful life. To learn more about human design through one-on-one sessions or self-paced courses, check out the links below. Okay, so since the sun is transiting on gate 13 this week, I thought it would be a perfect time to explore how do we go about creating a personal narrative that's different from the one that we've told ourselves all of our lives. And I want to start by saying that a lot of the times when we're not reaching our dreams, if there's things that you want to create in your life, in your reality, and you're just not getting there, a lot of the times the sole reason why that's happening is because the story you're telling about who you are is not aligned with that version of reality that you want to create. So for example, if you are wanting to start a business and have a certain amount of money at the end of the month, every single month, and be happy with your work and be fulfilled, but at the same time your personal narrative is that you're not good enough at this, and that being successful and earning money is super difficult, and that you never excel at anything, or whatever your own personal unconscious story may be, then that reality that you're trying to create can never really come into your physical plane, because on a subconscious level and an energetic level, you're not up to par with it. So you're not able to let it in. There's literally no space for it to come into your life, because the vibration that you're putting out is a lower vibration than the vibration that you're trying to bring in. So in order to bring in what we want to bring in, we have to create a new story about who we are and what we're here to do that is consciously created. And that is exactly what I'm gonna help you do in this video. So stay until the end, because at the end I'll have an exercise that you can do right now that will get you started into tapping into this new version of who you are. So in my own life, I find that we are constantly completing cycles of development or cycles of growth and expansion and beginning new ones. And you've probably felt this before, where there are times where you feel like I'm expanding, I'm growing, things are working, and then it's kind of like a contraction again. In my experience, these cycles that happen in our personal development, every time they come back around, we're being asked to create a new story about who we are, to step into a new, more powerful, more expanded version of who we are. And don't get me wrong, this happens unconsciously if you're just working on being the most aligned possible. But I definitely feel, and human design does teach us, that we can consciously and deliberately impact the story that we live and that we believe about ourselves, so that stepping into the next expansion period in our lives can be done more effortlessly. The more we can put intention into the story that we are creating about ourselves, the more that the reality that we create, what we're going to see on the outside of our lives, is going to be more about attracting the opportunities that we want to attract. So I'm going to walk you through the process that I use in my own life to create a new personal narrative for myself. And don't think that I just do this once and then it's done and I'm never gonna touch on it forever, because as I said before, it kind of operates in cycles. So for example, right now there's specific things that I'm looking towards expanding into. There's specific things that I'm looking to becoming in my life. That's the story that I'm gonna be writing right now. And in a few months, or whenever it feels right, whenever it feels like the next cycle is here, I'm probably gonna be working on a different story and go expanding in that way. So follow along on how I create my personal narrative for myself. And as I said before, at the end of the video, you can actually do this yourself. Okay, so the way I do this for myself, of creating a personal narrative that helps me expand in the way that I want to expand, is actually asking myself some very simple but valuable questions. The first question is, and I'm going to say these questions as if I were asking them to you so that it's more helpful. What are you trying to reach in your life right now? And what does a person that has already obtained this behave like? And then I usually focus on 3 behaviors about that question. So I'll give you an example. Right now in my life, I'm really trying to make creation, especially video creation, the main thing in my life. I'm trying for my income to come from that, whether it is from videos themselves or from people purchasing materials and courses that I'm gonna teach related to these videos. And I can really feel myself stepping into this next story of my life right now. There's also a lot of kind of energetic, health-related things that I'm tapping into that I won't necessarily go into right now. But when I answer this question of what behaviors will a person that has already accomplished this have, I think of things like waking up every day at the same time and not needing coffee. I think of someone who can take time off whenever she wants to be with her family because she's really successful and money is not an issue and time is not an issue. And I think of someone that has a rather strict creation schedule where she delivers 2 videos every single week at the same time every week, and where this person has already established a flow where accomplishing that is easy. So those are 3 examples of when I imagine myself getting to this next stage, what are the things that I would have accomplished behavior-wise? And so now just with that question, I have all this valuable information of these behaviors that I can start tapping into right now. Because the key to becoming that new personal narrative is stepping into those behaviors before you actually become that person. And actually, that is what's gonna help you step into that person. That's what's gonna help you make that reality possible for yourself. If you've already had the behaviors in place, then becoming that person energetically is gonna be super easy. Okay, the second question is, and it's similar to the first, but there's a big difference. What are you trying to reach in your life? And what does a person who has already reached this feel? And here you can also think of 3 words or 3 examples. So just for example purposes, I'm going to give you 2. When I think of a person that has this life that I'm creating, where my job is to do something that I love, which is to create YouTube videos, and where I'm sharing all of these amazing and valuable information for other people, and people are buying it, the income is coming in passively, it's supporting my family, it's giving me abundance. Honestly, the biggest thing I can think of is feeling gratitude. The second thing I can think of is stress-free. Really, this person kind of has it all figured out, right? I have a creation schedule, the courses are selling online, there's really no stress to be had about this work. It's so fun. So right away, I know that 2 really important things for me to tap into right now, not when this actually becomes a reality for me, but right now, because tapping into it right now is what is gonna make it a reality for me sooner, is to tap into gratitude. And honestly, I've been doing this lately and it is so effective. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational energies available to us, and just being able to tap into it at every single moment, shifting our focus into what it is that we already have instead of always looking at what is next, what else do I want, what don't I have that I need, but actually looking at what I already have, enjoying what I already have, enjoying the fact that I'm sitting here making a video for you guys and my husband is taking care of my kid and everything is perfect. And secondly, and this is a big one for me, you guys, is tapping into that stress-free life. Honestly, I've lived a conditioned life of hustle, 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 and hard work makes, everything possible. And that's not actually the life I'm trying to create. I'm trying to create a new story for myself, a new narrative where my work is easy and effortless. And I know that's possible because I've seen enough people that can do this. But up until now in my life, I've had the subconscious personal narrative that hard work is what gets you to the top, and that nothing happens without hard work, and that even money is something that is earned with sweat and tears. And that's definitely something that I'm changing. So I know that from now on, now that I'm creating this new story for myself, I need to tap into stress-free. I need to relax more. I need to maybe work less and watch more Netflix, take a day off and go to the park with my family. Those are the kind of things I'm tapping into that are actually, ironically, because I'm working less, right? But they're actually bringing me closer to the success that I am creating. Okay, so those are 2 questions that, even though they're so simple and similar to each other, they are so useful in creating this new personal narrative for whenever I'm feeling like I want to step it up. Now, this third thing I'm going to tell you is what actually works to seal the deal and to keep on reminding myself on a daily basis of the story that I'm creating. The more that you can remind yourself on a daily basis about the story that you are creating, the more that your mind will assimilate it and the more that you're energetically letting it in. So this third step is to journal, and I would recommend it every day. Of course, do what works for you, but I just do it about 20 minutes every night before going to bed after my meditation. I journal about this new person that I'm becoming. Something really useful that you can do is journal in the present moment. Write as if things were already happening. For example, I woke up today at 8 a.m. and I had so much energy, I didn't need coffee. I went right into work and creating my YouTube videos, and I had already sold 2 courses. We write in the present tense not because we're trying to fool anybody or because we're in la la land and pretending that things are perfect. We write in the present tense because it helps our subconscious mind to assimilate the story. It expands our mind into believing that what we want is possible for us. A lot of the times, the reason why what you want isn't coming into your life is because you don't really believe it's possible. You don't really have this image of yourself in your mind where you're being that successful or you're having that thing. It kind of doesn't fit the picture of reality that you've created over your entire life. And so by writing every day in the present tense, writing about the behaviors that you're showing, the things that are happening in your life and how they're making you feel, you're basically telling your brain, this is possible for me. And when your brain believes that something is possible, when it actually internalizes and really believes it, that's when it's able to come into your life. And trust me, you guys, like, I've been doing journaling for quite a while, and a lot of the times when you're doing it night after night after night, you feel like nothing is changing, you feel like nothing is happening. But suddenly you look at your journals from a year ago and you start reading the things that you were writing in the present tense but that hadn't actually happened, and it's actually kind of like reading your real life. This stuff really works. I highly recommend it. Okay, so I'm super into helping you guys move into the best version of yourself, the most joyous version of yourself possible. So I'm super into finishing each video with an exercise that you can do right now. Either grab a pencil and a paper or your journal, or if you want to do it really quickly, you can just leave me a comment below with one of the questions, or you can do both and make me really happy. And basically what I want you to do is answer these 2 questions for yourself and answer them with the first things that come to mind. Don't get too stuck into them. Remember that this story is constantly changing. It's not like you're choosing one destiny and that it's always going to stay the same. Just write about the story that you're wanting to create right now in your life. So here goes the exercise. Question number 1, what are you trying to create? And what does a person who has already achieved that in their life behave like? 3 things. You can list them as bullets. Number 2, what are you trying to create? And what does a person who has already attained this feel like? 3 things. You can list them as bullets. So I invite you to journal about these 2 questions, write them in the comment below. I'd love to hear what you're creating in your reality right now. And if you are sort of a spiritual nerd and personal development growth nerd like me, I invite you to create this daily or weekly or whatever works for you journaling routine where you're constantly working on this story that you're creating, this personal narrative about your life. The more you work in it, the more you just bring it to mind. You don't have to do anything in particular, just write about it and think about it and dream about it. The more you do that, the more you're preparing your energetic field to receive everything you've been calling into your life in the past years. And that's it. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. I love you. Until the next time.